Apple event for me, and I'm just gonna set it up this way. I like the fact that Apple, whenever they present something, they give you the simplistic, easily entreated graphs to understand what they're showing, even though what they're showing is technical marvel, right? With the
Mm-hmm.
products that they show, and I've always appreciated that about Apple. Whether it was the MP3 player, the iPod, which I had a long time ago, right? To the things that they've done with the phone, which is absolutely amazing even till this day. We do go back and forth with different manufacturers and different phone makers, but we know that Apple has inspired a whole bunch of companies to create their own products, right? So having said that, so Apple event took place this week. Danielle, if you have any thoughts on that, we'll start with that and then we'll go from there.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really pay attention to Apple products necessarily, especially
Okay.
their phones, because I'm very much Android based. If there's anything anybody can hate me for and just like I have no love for is just Apple. Like they are really to me, they're like a luxury item
Okay.
that people like to show off for status. And I will be one of those Android people who like they'll announce something that's new to iPhone and I'm like, well, Android's had that for a few years because it is true. So I don't feel like when it comes to their phone, there's anything innovative to it for me to be interested in or to pay attention to.
Okay.
Um, right now, my son is the only iPhone user simply because for him grasping the UI and the function, it was a lot easier for him than an Android phone. And it's still, he still feels that way. But it also, like, the only thing that I guess I like from Apple itself is just how all of their products just tie in to get together so well, and that's by design. I did not tune into it. I honestly, I really didn't because I'm like, me personally, when it comes to a new phone, I'm like, I'm just gonna be sticking with Android anyways. I'm not gonna be moving over.
Yeah, I like their phones. Okay, so we have an iPhone and the house, and I'm like, cool. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it's not something that ever pulled me. And I'm with you with the Android stuff. One of the things that I always appreciate about Android is how much you can modify, right, and make changes to the different phones. There's so many different Android phones out there, right? And because we have so many options, whether it's OnePlus or the Samsung models and things like that, there's always been some amazing innovation happening from all facets really of the Android side of things. But I think one of the things that always turned me off about the Apple stuff is the amount of restrictions that they go through, that end users may not necessarily really be focusing on that, right? In terms of the restrictions that they have on their products, and I think that has always bothered me, where it felt to me that they were always one or two steps behind what Android has already come out with, right? With certain feature sets and stuff like that. So that has always annoyed me a little bit. I think now it seems like a lot of phones are becoming more, the specs on the phones are more common, even though they're offering cheaper models, right? So now they went from having a whole bunch of specs where the phone is going to be $1,000 with a lot of the recent models in the last, I would say, 2-3 years, to now that they're going more budget friendly because they're bringing the cost back down, and now you have phones like the new Google phone and phones like that they're not necessarily pushing as much power, but the fact that you're going to be able to have 5G at a lower cost, those things are more attractive to the consumer who just wants the phone and the latest technology, but not necessarily a super powerful phone, right? So we're seeing those changes being made real time. I kind of like that those changes are happening, because paying 700, 800, $1,000 for a phone, I know some individuals will still do that, $7.99 will probably be my breaking point if I were to pay for. I don't know what the 8T is, the One Plus. You know, if it's $7.99, I'll probably do that, right? Because I've always wanted a One Plus phone. At some point, I think that's going to happen. But the models are becoming so much more affordable between the 399 with the recent Google announcement a couple of weeks ago to phones being 499 range, which is not too bad, right? Individuals are willing to pay for that, and they're still getting the best of what Google has to offer in their products. And I think that even with the iPhone 12, and they announced different models of the iPhone 12, there are different options to, there are different price points, right? And it's attractive price points, and just like any other whether it's an Xbox, PlayStation things, we need other models to fit the different price points for the consumers who are not going to pay, the high price point for the different things. So I think that the approach that Apple is doing, or OnePlus is doing, and even Google is doing, is a great, because they're pretty much having market, not necessarily market share is the wrong thing that I'm thinking about right now, is you're appealing to different consumer bases. That's what I'm looking for, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
And that's what I love about Android too. I'm probably not gonna be up for like another phone until next year, probably like around June. I've had my phone for like 2 years now, I
Mm,
think. I don't know, but the one thing I do like, I mean, phones in general are expensive. Doesn't matter if you go iPhone or Android; they're just expensive. There's affordable options out there. I, on the other hand, went the route of like, I'll just include it into my monthly bill. I'll just make installments on it.
right, right.
Because I ain't got no, I don't even have $400 to be giving to you up front. Says the person $500 for a PS5.
Right, right. You don't have it anymore. You
I
had
don't
it.
have it anymore.
You had it, but you don't have it anymore. One thing that they did announce, which was really cool, is the HomePod Mini, and I think that that the fact that we have different options with these different companies, I think it's a beautiful thing, right? So the HomePod Mini allows you to, obviously, it's a speaker, right? So you can listen to some dope content. The speaker design is great, right? It's and I like the fact that when you put, I think they show, like, when you put two next to each other, they don't necessarily interfere in the frequencies or something to that effect. And I like, and I agree with you that I do not spend a lot of time following the Apple stuff. The real reason I watched it is because I wanted to see how far they've come in the technology, spectrum or innovation, right? How far are we, right, along, right? So we have the 5G stuff, which is great. The HomePod mini speaker, that's cool. The iPhone 12, that's great, right? And the antenna around the phone, cool. All those things are fantastic. But how far we've come, I really appreciate that aspect of it. And of course, their presentation is very appealing. It's very clean, simple presentation for what they do when they hold events, especially during, right, the pandemic. They have to frame things a little bit differently, but I think with all that, it was really really dope watch. It's good to actually see. If you haven't seen an Apple event for in a long time, definitely check that one out.
Maybe eventually. I have no clue. I just, I feel like such a hater for it too because it still doesn't interest me. Like, I'm there for the bullet points. Like, tell me what was
Right.
good.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, the phone was good. The HomePod Mini was good. The event overall was a great presentation. They do a fantastic job. And another thing too that I noticed that I watch when I'm checking out these things is the branding of not only the individuals presenting, but how the color palette works with the foreground and the background of the presenter, right? The color schemes that they have on, as well as how that flows into the next segments and stuff like that. It's just weird. I just pay attention to those things. I don't know why, but lately I've been doing that. And even store branding. I'll go into the store and watch and look at the color palette and how they frame things. Like, I don't know. I'm just, anyway. So yeah, so good stuff. Apple event. I really dug what I saw, and yeah,
The
it's worth
only
a watch
Apple
if you have time.
product the only Apple product that I do want is an iPad. Originally, like, I didn't want it. I actually wanted a drawing tablet, but there's an app on there, Procreate, that's really amazing, and that's kind of it.